Shalom. Today our way to talk about trusting in the Spirit of God. Avechye Yahweh, trusting in His Spirit for teaching, knowledge, true understanding, true interpretation of the Scriptures and of prophecy, for all understanding, interpretation, knowledge, wisdom. Don't trust in or rely on the teachings, doctrines, traditions, and interpretations of churches, because there is false teachers within many false churches, worldly churches, and many there is of false teachings and false interpretations in so many churches in the world that have been passed on through generations and generations since the beginning of those denominations. Rely not on such teachings and doctrines and interpretations to be correct. When you hear what they speak and how they speak it and how they interpret it, don't rely on how they do it, what they've told you. When you hear, seek the Scriptures, seek the leading, the teaching, the interpretation and understanding and knowledge from the Spirit of God. Do not ever rely on just what you hear from man in a church or online. Because we should be relying for the real truth alone to come from the Spirit. And so many for generations have turned their attention and their seeking towards man first before the Spirit of God, letting man be their teachers first and putting God last, putting the Father last, putting Yeshua last. They rely more on what man speaks in the pulpit, and this is why we have so many spiritual asleep followers, so many people that are spiritually blind. And we're not just talking about unbelievers, we're also talking about those that have come to the faith, but they're kept spiritually asleep. And they're not progressing like they think they are. They're not getting as strong in the faith and in the fire of the Spirit. Like everything that should be happening, it's not happening because they're kept in such and they're constrained by the doctrines and the interpretations and traditions of their denomination. And this is the problem with the whole denominations problem, like situation, how the churches are splinters everywhere, rather than the body being just one body. They've split into so many different fractions with their own doctrines, their own interpretations, and all claiming to be right over the other and everything. They have divided the body, what Yeshua intended to be one. The original church started by the disciples, the apostles, by the apostles and the early followers. It wasn't known as Christianity. That term was not even around. It wasn't some new religion. It was a continuation of the way, a showing, a fulfilling, and a continuation of the way already set. That's why, to many back then, they were known as the way. That's it. It's only when the Roman church began, by Constantine, when the Roman Empire changed, ruling as a church, no longer as this empire, and yes, church, all these other denominations don't share the certain traditions and that the Catholic Church has in terms of praying to saints, etc. But they still kept a lot of the stuff that a lot of the teachings, false teachings, misinterpretations, and so forth, and traditions and things. They still kept a lot of that and continued on in their own denominations, and so but this whole new thing of Christianity is it's just another. It is a religion. It's not what was started by the apostles and early disciples. This is something that's come from Rome. This separate church, separate new religion is what they started. It's not what Yeshua, the apostles, and that started. It was a new religion. The term Christian was later adopted, but they didn't address themselves as Christians. It was a mocking slur from Romans to those that were followers of Yeshua. But believers later adopted the term Christians. And that's not me saying there's not anything wrong with being called a Christian or Messianic, because it means the same thing. Follower of Christ, follower of Messiah. But Christianity, whether churches want to admit it or not, it was a new religion started by the Roman Church. Yeshua didn't start Christianity. He didn't come to start a new religion. He came to show the way, to fulfill the way, to show the way that was already set. He came to show it. Yeah. It's and people have become to for so many generations so many followers rely more on man because they're a pastor, a priest, a deacon, whatever titles, minister, whatever, because they have these titles or whatever, they have this qualification certificate. And like, another thing about this Christianity religion is they've figured it from, oh, you have to have like documentation proving you can talk by the Christianity religious schools for you to be able to teach, for you to be able to do go and baptize and teach and make disciples. That's not what it says in Scripture. It tells all followers to make disciples and to baptize them. And we are meant to be teaching and instructing, showing them the way, guiding them, helping to bring others to the way and teaching them, like guiding them and helping them understand. It's a system of authority and control. They want to be, they're no different to the Pharisees, because it's all about they are the only ones that can do this, and or they have the, like, everyone should turn to them. It's just, I don't know. I think when it comes to, I think there needs to be a change. I have done nothing from the start of my walk with him. I have done nothing but trust in his teaching alone, his guidance, his interpretation, the knowledge he gives me, the understanding he gives me, everything from him and only him. I will not, I made it clear from the beginning, and it's been like this throughout since 2015. I will only listen to him. I will only believe what he gives me the understanding, interpretation of when I'm reading the scriptures. And he's taught me a lot. And that's how it was meant to be. Relying on God alone and on his Spirit to give you what is completely true, the true interpretations and understandings. Not immediately believing whatever a teacher or a pastor or whatever tells you in a church to be exactly true and correct. You're supposed to go and test the scriptures. You're supposed to have discernment. You're supposed to go and test what the scriptures say against what they've said in the churches, what the pastors, ministers, whatever their title is, what they have taught and what they've interpreted the scriptures to be saying. You're supposed to test their words and their teachings and their interpretations against scripture and what the Spirit gives you understanding of. Because if the scriptures and the Spirit's interpretation to you and understanding to you, teaching to you, doesn't add up with what they teach you in a church, that's what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to be Those that come from so little faith will have more faith than those that claim to be in him so many years. They will have eyes to see, ears to hear. Yeah. I just don't know. It's all just... It's just not... It's like there's so many people lost, and there's many people that ain't getting what they should be receiving, but they rely too much on man and the doctrines and traditions and teachings of man more than they do on the spirit. It's backwards. They put man first, God second. In most of these places they follow fluffy, like a happy bunny rabbit Jesus than they do, or Yeshua, than they do the true balance of love and judgment. Because he's not all just joy, love, kindness, happy, peace. He also gives righteous judgment for those that it's intended for. And he corrects when you need correcting. When anyone needs correcting, he corrects. It's no longer come as you are and be transformed through him, your mind renewed, new spirit in you, being transformed and moulded into a new person in him. It's now in the churches, it is now. Come as you are, remain as you are. Don't worry about changing. Don't worry about becoming a new person. Just remain as you are. Remain what you identify by. And remain in your lust and your fornications and what you love to do in life, and continue chasing after these worldly things and worldly ways. It does not matter. Come as you are, remain as you are. We accept you, even to stay as you are. We still accept you. Just come for the love of Yeshua, Jesus. Just come to hear about the love and the good things. We don't do any correctness or anything. We just walk in the unbalanced side of it's just love and everything here. There's no balance within our churches of both. To make sure you're walking on a straight path to him, to get to the Father. That's fact. That's what so many churches have become. They become this I don't know what they are anymore. Lukewarm, worldly. And they lead so many astray. And they allow so many to remain in their ways and their sin, and to remain in their old selves without any transformation within or without. There's no changing of the heart. There's no changing whatsoever, apart from our appearance to look like they are walking a new life, when really they are not, because they're still doing a lot of what they were meant to put to death when they're born again. And it grieves the Father, grieves Yeshua. They're so close. They're coming so close, and they allow themselves to just be kept, rather than when they got called and when they came to him, he broke those chains, but he didn't just break those chains, he opened the door to their prison cell. But they didn't walk out of that prison cell, because the enemy, Satan, he got to them after the chains were broken, and has kept them in this worldly state, in this counterfeit way of the way. Doesn't want them getting too close. Fine is like fine. They believe. But I can keep them from getting real close in a real good relationship, and from getting some good teaching from him. I will meddle and do all I can to keep them in a low spiritual walk, lukewarm, because he's cunning and he knows what to do. So many come to faith and belief in Yeshua, Jesus. And when their chains are broken, they're free, but they're not fully free because they haven't walked out of the door. Because he didn't just break their chains, he opened the door to their cell, to their prison cell. And they didn't exit it. They're living for the Lord, but not completely, because they're still part of the world. They're lukewarm because they're still part of the world. They got one foot in him and the other in the world. They can't depart from the world. They don't want to put all these things in the past, to leave it with their old lives. all the things they loved to do in their old lives, and all the things they identified with or identified as, or like the things that will bring no real purpose in their new walk. They still continue, a lot of them or all of them. The things they like to do that didn't really bring any purpose to their new walk. They keep it because that's things they knew and loved in their old life. And this can cover a whole road of range of things. So don't misunderstand me for what I say. Don't let your heads immediately go to, oh, we must be talking of this thing or such and such. Or no, it covers a whole load of range of things. Whole load. And a lot of things they make excuses of, some things when people point out in scripture it says about these things shouldn't be doing and that, and then they'll make excuses like, oh, but that's stuff from the Old Testament, or it's not meaning this, and like we can use these things to glorify God, and well, not really, because you're doing things that, especially if you're doing things to your temple, to your body, it's not really glorifying God, because you're supposed to take care of your body in all ways, including your skin. So, defining it with things because you like to do these things. And for anyone that have come past things, or stopped doing things, or like whatever it is, they finally put that stuff away, put it to death with your old self. Like, that's good, and none of that by anyone can be held on you, nor can you be judged for, if it's now behind you, your past, if you've come away from it all. No matter what it is, no matter what, I'm making this clear again, I'm not talking about any one particular thing, nor thinking of one particular thing when I'm speaking like this about such. This covers a whole load of range of things, a whole load of range of things. So, because there are many that only cover certain things, but I'm covering a whole load of things when I'm talking about this. And there's a vast amount. It's not just fornication. It's not like it's a whole, like it's not just stealing, murdering, or like it's a whole load of things that I'm covering. And we're meant to die to ourselves daily. Daily. And as he's transforming us within, moulding us into that new person till we're complete in him, because it's not as straightforward. It just doesn't happen miraculously the moment you come to him, the moment you give your life to him. You ain't suddenly this complete new person in him, like voila, like that. No, he spends time moulding you, transforming you within until he sees his reflection. And you'll have your time of wilderness where he's doing most of this work, transforming you, pulling you away from certain lifestyles or ways or things, like anything that doesn't belong in you, that has to be casted out. He takes you through that period before the actioning begins of the work role he has set out for you. Trust me, I've been in that wilderness period. Like, I just exited that wilderness period. Like, mine started around 2017, 2018. It was between those 2 years. I can't remember the exact date because it's been so long now. But that's when mine started. Sometime after I was baptised, because I was baptised in 2016. I answered his calling and came to him, to faith into him in 2015, baptised in 2016, and then it was around between 2017 and 2018 when the wilderness period started. I think it was mostly 2018 when that started, because that's when I became, like, it was definitely a time of isolation as well, a lot. And there's been a lot of testing and trials that I've faced over the years since. This year I exited the wilderness without even realising, and the action of what he set out for me had already begun without me even realising that it was the beginning of the action of what he set out for me, because I knew what he was leading me to be doing, and I started it and not even clocked on that I've started. And he spoke to my spirit, just simply saying to me, have you not realised that it started? And I didn't understand. I didn't clock on at first. What's it mean? What's he talking about? And then the moment he said to me, I've left the wilderness, I knew exactly what he meant when he said, have you not realised that it started? Meaning, the next phase of the work, what he has for me has already started, and I didn't even realise it. And that happens to a lot of people. You could know what's coming. You have an idea of what's his, like, of work or other work that he's eventually going to have you be doing, but not real. But it can just, like, spring up on you very quickly. It just can just appear, can just start out of nowhere, and you cannot even realise that you just started to begin doing, like, actually that next work or that work. Like, getting sidetracked from the original topic of the video. Also, I can talk about this in another video sometime. But yeah, you've got to trust in his teaching, his interpretation, his understanding. You've got to trust his, trust in him first, in him alone, and what he teaches you through his spirit, the understanding, the interpretations, the knowledge, the truth from him, and test what the pastors and the ministers and other teachers within churches and online and whatever else, test their words and their teachings, their interpretations, their doctrines, their traditions, and so forth against Scripture and his spirit, what his spirit reveals, the interpretations, the teachings, and everything that his spirit gives. If it goes against the Scriptures and what he's revealed to you, the understandings, the teaching, interpretation, everything, if theirs go against his, then you know. Sadly, so many within the churches that have a teaching role, they are just learning what those that teach them learn from those that taught them, who learned from those that taught them, and so forth, going back many years. It's a tradition and doctrine of their own interpretations and understandings, etc., they've fingered within their church school system to teach the same things, to pass it on, even if it's not correct. It doesn't matter what's correct. Not to them. Not to most of these churches in the world. These worldly, lukewarm churches. Trust him first and alone. And exit out of that prison cell. Walk out through the door that is still open, because he opened it for you. He removed those chains, the worldly chains, and he opened the door, but you're still stuck in the cell. And not only are you still stuck in the cell, you got one foot in him and the other foot in the world. Come out of it. Come out of your cell and come out of the world. You're supposed to be of him alone, walking in the way. You may live in the world, but you're not supposed to be of the world. So come out of it. Don't remain in the world. Come out of the world and walk in the way alone with both feet. You can't be half in, half out. Do not be lukewarm. For those that are lukewarm, do not remain lukewarm. kingdom is what matters. Helping towards the kingdom, not ourselves, not what we want to do in life. Doesn't matter. Oh, I want to chase after what my heart wants. Oh, I find this cool, I want to do that. Oh, I love these tattoos, I want to get this. Oh, I can get ones that glorify God. Why would you want to do that to your flesh? Like, you're putting so much focus on marking your temple of God up. And you make excuses. Oh, this is glorifying God. But no, you're doing what you want, you love to do. You're still partaking in worldly ways. And you're too focused on fighting over of, oh no, it's not a sin. Oh no, this, oh, it might say something about, oh, mark your bodies up for the dead or whatever. But no, this is a different thing back then. And you're still technically marking up your body, which is now a temple of God, and you can make excuses of, oh, I get scripture or cross or whatever I put on my body, like it'll glorify God. No, that's the excuses. That's the things you tell yourself and others to make you feel good and right. But you're just partaking in what the rest of the world does. And you could call it a hobby, you like tattoos, doing that or whatever. But actually it's just an addiction to the things you used to love in your old life. You just don't want to admit, for all those that do it, you just don't want to admit it. Because it's still an attachment to your old life. What you want to do is you want to look down under that water. You want to look through that water, look and see your old self that you buried. And you want to cut that last remaining thread that there seems to be of an attachment to your old self. Just chop it away. Walk with him and focus on the kingdom. And stop regurgitating, stop recycling the top doctrines and teachings and interpretations and everything that's been passed on for generations by these different denomination beliefs and everything, what they passed on, that started with those that started those denominations, and all these denominations that fight over who's the actual correct one and everything. Stop recycling and regurgitating all their stuff. Trust in He's alone. He's. And I know a little while ago I just said about tattoos and things, but that's just an example. And I could mention a whole load of different things. But this video will go on for far too long. And it's already at 45 minutes. People are probably not going to watch all this video. It's far too long. People haven't got the attention to sit down to watch things for far too long. Which is actually my... which is, I think, the point where I should be ending this now, and I can talk about this a bit more in another video sometime. But yeah, I really wanted to just bring this up and to talk about this, because it needs saying. It does. So, may the Lord bless you and keep you and shine His face upon you and bring you peace. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, Baruch Shem Kavod, Malkuto, Lailam, Chayed. Shalom.